New Zealand. Wild, raw, and humbling. We came here to bowhunt tahr, but on a trip like this, the unexpected is guaranteed. This is our 3-week pursuit through the Southern Alps, and everything that came with it. Long hikes, close calls, and weather that changed by the hour. We carried everything on our backs and earned every step. But this hunt was more than mountains and miles. It was the one-lane bridges, the meat pies, and the people who welcomed us like family. This is the story of our time in New Zealand, and the perspective only hunting can offer. Every great adventure starts the same. Too many bags, long flights, and the quiet hope that all the planning and preparation will be worth it. Karen and I are 11 hours into our travel, and we just boarded our big puddle jump. We did upgrade to the Sky Couch, so we're gonna see how that goes. Queuing up Lord of the Rings at 30,000 feet just really sets the mood when you're going to New Zealand.
I always thought to myself, if only there was a bed, it would be so much better, because then you could just go to sleep.
2025. We got beds in the plane and we're not business class.
Economy.
In economy. Reaching New Zealand's South Island took 3 flights. As we neared Christchurch, the Southern Alps came into view. Our first real look at the mountains we came to explore. All of our luggage made it. That's our car. Here goes a month of driving on the left side of the road. Steering wheel's opposite. Wish us luck. All right, kilometers an hour, left. Left to left. I pull out and I go left. Here we go. Stay on the left. Left, left, left. Nothing like starting it off with a roundabout. Everybody here is pretty chill. I'm a little stressed out driving on the left side of the road. I wonder how many times I'll say that. New Zealand has strict biosecurity rules, so we didn't bring any food with us. No freeze-drieds, no snacks, no meat for my carnivore diet, nothing. So stop one when we arrived at Christchurch was to the grocery store. We'll do some of this, maybe one of those, one of these. They don't keep the eggs in the fridge overseas. Leaving the concrete jungle behind brought instant relief. Empty roads, endless valleys, and skies that seemed even bigger than home. Plant Hills, with our friends Jim and Moana, would be home base for the next 3 weeks. Welcome to our home for the next 22 days. Let's take a little tour. So there's about 500 sheep over here.
Well, hello there. Come on in to the crib. It's beautiful.
It's beautiful. This property is beautiful.
It's like, doesn't even feel real. Yeah, it's amazing. For our first morning, we joined Jim and Moana on a pig hunt, aided by a couple of their seasoned dogs. Feral pigs are highly invasive here, and both the government and local ranchers are eager to see them gone. It was a fun, low-pressure way to ease into the landscape, shake off the jet lag, and get our bearings. No pigs were harmed that day, but watching the dogs work, doing exactly what they were bred to do, was incredible. That afternoon, as the weather began to change, we let our eyes do the walking and spotted our first red deer. The roar was still on, and we watched 2 stags spar, circling and clashing for nearly a minute. It was the perfect start to our trip. It's second full day in New Zealand, and it has been dumping rain, so we spent the morning just cooking up a bunch of meat. Now we're back to driving on the left side of the road. Going to town, hoping to find some meat pies and some more supplies. I've been waiting for this moment for so long. I'm gonna try my first New Zealand meat pie.
That's so good. 10 out of 10. 1 million out of 10.
This is basically the first time I've broken my carnivore diet in 6 months, but when you're in New Zealand, you have to eat meat pies. I mean, it's mostly meat, but then it's got a lot of carbs too. It's pretty good. It's winter. Start of our third day in New Zealand, and it snowed. It snowed a lot. It snowed like a foot. Our rental car is just like buried. So probably won't be moving it for a couple days. Got the fire going, made some coffee, making some breakfast. Maybe get on a chopper in a couple days. When the snow melts a little, and go tar hunting. Quick little visual inspection, make sure that nothing obvious that the airline did to the bow, but I think she's good. All right, 36 yards. She's on.
As the snow fell, we couldn't help but feel gratitude that we weren't tent-bound on some exposed mountain ridge. Weather days are part of any hunt, and weather is one of those things you'll never control. So we've learned to focus on what you can, and let the rest play out how it will. On our fourth day, as the weather began to clear, we joined Jim and his hunting client Blaine on a stag hunt. Blaine is a retired outfitter who spent many years guiding deer and elk hunts in Nevada. As is the case with most big storms, right when the weather clears is a great time to be hunting, as many of the animals will be visible, they'll be on their feet, and often low on the mountain. Earlier in the year, Jim had seen a pretty special stag in the area, a typical 7x7 that was one of the biggest free-range stags he'd ever seen. And so, despite watching many other stags, we had our sights set on finding him. That afternoon, we found him, away from the main herd, hanging with another stag that was missing his back leg. This stag had everything. He was heavy, dark-horned, and old. He was way up on a steep face, so Blaine set up on a rock at the bottom.
I got him.
You did. Yes.
Run up there and get him, drag him down here. Wait. I'll never make it by dark.
Good job. Thanks, you guys.
Yeah,
thank you.
congratulations. Storm has finally passed. It's been 3 days. Now it's time to see if we can get the rental car out of here. Covered in snow. Oh, look at that. This rental car doesn't have any tow hooks, but after reading the manual, highly recommend. We found out it has a spot to put in a recovery hook, so which came with it. So we're gonna have our friend Jim tow us out.
Jim was oddly excited to tow us out with his manual diesel Hilux. classic Kiwi Ute pride on full display. The Ute managed to drag us out about 100 yards. Then we hit the genius design flaw. No front tow hook on the rental. So Keren and I grabbed shovels and spent the next 2 hours earning our freedom the old-fashioned way.
Go, go, go. We made it 100 yards.
Lesson learned for future trips. If snow's even a remote possibility, four-wheel drive isn't just a luxury, it's survival.
2 hours later, we got out. Oh, thank goodness.
With a break in the weather, warmer temps, and our newfound freedom, Keren and I set out for public land, eager to throw in the packs and try our luck bow hunting tahr.
Yeah, well, we drove the rental car probably like a mile up this little road, and probably where we shouldn't have, but we made it. Now we're loading up and gonna hike into a spot. Storing our extra arrows in the arrow vault here. This thing's pretty sweet, actually. It's like, your arrows are super protected. You could probably drive over this guy and it wouldn't crush your arrows. Also, just in case, we've got all our extra toilet paper just displayed nice and neatly back here. Ready for anything.
Nearly 40% of New Zealand's South Island is public land, which means there's a massive amount of ground you can hunt. But the scale of these mountains is humbling, and much of it can only be reached by helicopter. For this first round, Keren and I chose a spot on the map in more accessible country. Armed with a bow, a couple cameras, and a healthy dose of curiosity about what we might find.
We haven't even hiked a mile, and like, this country is so pretty. This is a little beefsteak. It's starting to thaw, but carnivore in New Zealand. Frozen meat. Pretty good though.
A little preventative maintenance, hopefully. And tonight's spicy beef nachos, and get this, they came with chips. I miss gastronome, but I'm curious to try some different freeze drieds. Oh, good.
Kind of wild hunting here because the scenery is so dang pretty. I just kind of want to sit here and take it in and watch the sunrise. It's like, no, gotta look for tahr. Way up there on the skyline, there's a tahr, but it's like 2,000 vertical feet above us. So, going to the top.
The wind started as a whisper, then slowly cranked up, until drawing my bow felt more like a joke than a chance.
The wind is absolutely ripping. I'm a little worried about our teepee. We didn't reinforce any of the stakes with big rocks.
As we climbed higher into the range, we started seeing fresh tahr tracks. Then, the culprits themselves. We accidentally bumped a group of Nanny and kids, But since it was the rut, a couple of love-struck bulls came barreling in to restore order. The group dropped down toward the grassy face, giving us just enough hope to do something bold. So we slipped out of view and dropped into what I hoped was their path. With any luck, they'd walk right into us. And they pretty much did. But remember the wind? It hadn't let up. My max archery range is already limited, but throw in a serious crosswind, and that range shrinks to about 20 yards. What would have been a chip shot with a rifle was completely off the table with a bow. And so, I just sat back and watched the critters we had traveled halfway across the world for do their thing and eventually run over the ridge and be gone from our lives forever. 64 yards, but steep downhill and really windy. That was cool. As the sun dropped lower, we made our way back, curious and slightly nervous to see if the teepee had survived the wind.
I think our tent is gone.
There should be a teepee right there in the middle. I don't see one.
That sucks.
The final hike back to the teepee was slow and full of what-ifs. What if the wind tore it apart? What if our gear was gone? What if we had no way to camp? Each step came with a new question we didn't want answered.
Well, good news. The tent is here, but it is flat. I guess we don't have to sleep under the stars tonight after all.
Thankfully, just a few stakes had pulled and the teepee blew over. Nothing torn, nothing gone. Just a good lesson learned about reinforcing your stakes with rocks.
Today was a proper adventure, with almost a tragedy when we thought the tent was gone. Tonight's dinner, apricot chicken. Hopefully a little safer than the beef nachos I had yesterday. The farts won't be as aggressive, maybe.
Bacon and burger. And a lot of wind. The morning started out with, you guessed it, wind. A lot of wind. The next wave of storms was already brewing on the horizon. But for now, we had a break. Clear visibility and solid ground underfoot, instead of wading through knee-deep snow. Not exactly dream conditions for bow hunting, but definitely better than digging a rental car out of a snowdrift. A little mid-morning coffee behind a rock because it's windy as heck out there. Coffee with a view. That's the kind of wind you don't mess around with. We're bailing off the mountain now. Crazy. That is a fine sight right there. That thing withstood probably 40-mile-an-hour winds today. A big storm is coming in, so we're gonna bail off the mountain.
So we're gonna go look for some meat pies for a couple days, and then it'll be back to hunting.
Since there ain't much hunting to be done on this fine weather day, we're going on a meat pie tour. We're driving towards the Fairley Bakehouse. It's like a famous bakehouse with the best meat pies. Everybody gets their meat pies from Fairley, so we'll see if we make it. A couple one-lane bridges to go. Karen's driving. It's a little scary. We just went to the Fairley Bakehouse. There was like 50 people in there. It is super popular. But we got like 8 meat pies. So we've got bacon and salmon, another bacon and salmon, mince and cheese, steak and cheese, venison, and I don't even know, but they're all awesome, and we totally loaded up. When you're in New Zealand, you have to. These things are incredible. Totally worth driving 2 hours on this rainy, crappy day. So, eat some meat pies and then get back to hunting. Time was flying by. With a week left in our trip and a good weather window ahead, we had just enough time to get in some solid hunting with Jim and his pup Cass.
We're going on an adventure.
You look like a butterfly. A very energetic butterfly. Oh,
Now the sun's up.
oh, gentleman hours.
All right, here we go.
We are going bow hunting. Bow hunting is about minimizing movement, efficiency.
You see a tar. Oh boy, and a dog.
He's so fluffy.
It looks big and old.
Jim had a few days off between guiding and was generous enough to join us and share some local wisdom. His knowledge was pretty solid, but let's be honest, the real MVP was his black lab Cass, who brought the energy and the entertainment.
If you want to be pestered, I will pester you. If you want to be a real serious hunting dog, be serious. We're a rifle range from a big bull tahr, and you are playing silly buggers.
A few hours into what was planned as a 5-day backpack hunt, we were making a play on a bull tahr. Jim and Cass stayed back while Keren and I tried to see just how close we could get. The wind was absolutely ripping and it was in our favor. I told myself it's day one, there's so much cool country to explore ahead of us, and that I was not going to shoot him. But I carried my bow anyways, which is always a slippery slope. The wind allowed me to stalk into about 2 yards of him. Now, with bow hunting, getting close is the name of the game, but with just a few steps separating us, this felt different. For a brief moment, my senses relaxed. I stopped being a predator and I just took it all in. I wasn't thinking about my shot process or chasing an outcome. I was just there. I didn't know it at the time, but it's rare moments like that that remind me why I love to bow hunt. After a few minutes, I crept a little closer to make sure the tahr wasn't blind. He wasn't. We pushed up through the tussock, passing several red stag along the way, with our sights fixed on the rugged, gnarly valley up ahead. The remainder of the day was spent glassing one of the most breathtaking valleys we'd ever laid eyes on, picking apart the terrain with our optics and turning up a solid number of tahr and red deer. We were up early, eager to see what the day might bring. As the first light hit camp, a young bull appeared just a few hundred yards out. Already a great sign. Later that morning, after posting up on a vantage point overlooking the basin, we glassed up what looked like an old bull tahr. Thick, silver-maned, and alone. He stood out immediately. Even better, he was in a perfect spot for a stalk.
We got a big bull tahr bedded way up here, so Keren and I are gonna go make a play. See what happens. We're close. He's probably like 50 yards bedded right down here, so I'm gonna butt scoot down, see if I can get a little closer.
I was at full draw for a little bit. I had to shoot over this little grass hump and I had about this much margin of error. 30 yards. It felt pretty good. Holy cow. Now we get to decide between a rug and a shoulder mount.
Shoulder mount.
Rug. Gosh, this hair is insane. I can't get over their hair. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 12, 13? Our pack mule! Our pack mule! Look at this!
That was the coolest thing I've ever seen.
Cheers, man. Thanks, pal. That was epic.
Woo!
Fur is beautiful. It's like 10 inches long and silver fox, we'll call this one.
look like a mountain man.
This is how you pack out a tar.
Nice work, Steve. Nice work.
We're processing Zealand Tahr that he shot yesterday.
First bite of tar. That's great. That's like, doesn't have any flavor.
Doesn't have any flavor.
Well, no, it doesn't like taste bad. A lot of people like
Yeah.
think tar is like a goaty, ruddy, nasty thing, but that's really good.
It's very mild. Doesn't have a gamey taste or anything. Really good.
Life moves fast. Hunts come and go, flights blur together, and if it weren't for the photos and video, even the most unforgettable adventures start to fade. Details slip, feelings soften, but through the lens, we get to hold on a little longer. To remember not just where we were, but what it meant. Some places leave a mark, not because of the animals on the ground or the miles on your boots, but because of how they make you feel. Out there, far from the noise, you're reminded of who you are and why you chase these moments in the first place.